So nature itself is with us because every form of micro things that is be inside us in another. So we have to think that what the position of human beings in earth. When we see like that, we are just like any other creatures, a creature that is originated in the nature. So we have all the connections with the nature itself. So what the specialty means, we have certain instincts. So if you see a butterfly, when it is catching out from the pupa, it's going to a flower and taking that honey. So it's known as teaching. It's an instinct that is there to know about the things in the nature. Like that, human beings also have an instinct to see the nature in a very good form. And that instincts will help us a lot in the mental forms and in another types of activities also. Our culture has created a miniature of creating this in your house through some specific type of plants. So if you like that, if you are seeing, when entering into the house of India, we have a tulasi is there in front of us. That incarnation itself is showing that there will be such a type of Prakriti's miniature is there inside, so that you can do the puja and all these things. So if you look into the scientific of that, one is we can use a home remedy very easily. The first thing what will happen in a home is something happen to your prana, respiratory problems or a throat irritation or a nasal discharge, something like that. If you take 2 or 3 tulasi leaves and the water and you drink it, little bit of soothing action, that itself will be taking place. So the prana can be controlled in certain extent by this tulasi. So some of the plants are like that. We can call it as a home remedial plants. One is we talk about the tulasi, we talk about that. Another is Sandala asiatica, Manduga Parni. We will call it as Brahmi. So Brahmi is one of the very important plant that will help to stabilize our mind. If you look the Brahmi, it's a Sandala asiatica, that leaves shape itself is similar to that of a brain. And it is having some alkaloids. Now it is proved that it is very good for pacifying the mental activity if it is in an excess form. So according to the areas, geographical and floral condition, they created the sacred groves. Only using the local plants that it is growing. So they will create such type of things in particular area so that their ecology of that area has been preserved in all the levels. So that some of the amphibian snakes or something can live on that particular area, so that the rats of that particular area is balanced with that, and some lizards can come, other birds can settle it, or some of the animals can live like that. By that we can reduce the temperature of that particular area also. We can conserve the groundwater water fertilization of that particular area, so that we can conserve the groundwater fertility of that particular area.
Namaste everyone. Today we are having Dr. Ajayan with us. Myself, I am Paritosh Bhatt. I'm working with Aranya Pharmacy Coimbatore Limited, and we have a collaboration with BAPS Yogi Maharaj Hospital. So I'm giving my services as a physician into the hospital. Today with us we have Dr. Ajayan sir. Sir is born and brought up in the lineage of an Agastya Marma practicing family, and he was trained in the traditional Gurukulam of Agastya Marma. Agastya Marma Shastra and Kalari. Dr. Ajayan is currently working as President of the Center of Indian Medical Heritage CIMH at AVP Medicinal Plant Garden in Kanjikot, Kerala. He is the Chief Consultant at Sri Keshwan Vaidyan Memorial Keshavollasam Vaidyashala in Thiruvananthapuram, and Dr. Ajayan is also the seed bank founder and seed collector for Sri Keshwan Vaidyan Memorial Center, Thiruvananthapuram. So sir's passion is just one: plants. No? If you want to talk about plants to sir, you can talk any time of the day. If you wake him at 12 o'clock night and sir, I want to talk about plant, he is ready. It has happened many times with me, and recently we are in Coimbatore, and that time also we just started talking about plant and it became 12 o'clock. I said, sir, you should take rest because you have a session tomorrow morning. So sir is like that. Because we are in a conference where we are talking about Acharana, which is Indic wisdom for sustainable lifestyle, and how his expertise can help us to understand this topic. So on that theme, I have few questions to you, sir, and we are all welcoming you, sir. So, being here in this conference of Acharana, which is Indic wisdom for sustainable lifestyle, we all say our behavior should be in the accordance with the Prakriti. Prakriti is nature, okay, not as a constitution, as a nature. So our behavior should be according to that, because everywhere we are talking about global warming, we have pollutions, we have many things we are talking. So our Acharana, our actions should be according to the Prakriti around us. But is there any method to analyze and understand Prakriti around us? Because suppose we are living in a city, so around us things will be different. If we are living in a village, it's different. If we are living in a in a forest, things will be different. So, sir, is there any method in our Indic wisdom which can make us to understand the Prakriti around us?
Thank you, sir, for a great introduction and these things. So, nature itself is with us because every form of micro things that is be inside us in another form. So, we have to think that what the position of human beings in earth. When we see like that, we are just like any other creatures, a creature that is originated in the nature. So, we have all the connections with the nature itself. So, what the specialty means, we have certain instincts. So, if you see a butterfly, when it is catching out from the pupa, it's going to a flower and taking that honey. So, it's known as teaching. It's an instinct that is there to know about the things in the nature. Like that, human beings also have an instinct to see the nature in a very good form. And that instincts will help us a lot in the mental forms and in another types of activities also. So when you are seeing an yellow color, we can see that this campus is having so much of colors, variation of colors. Each color has its own importance. So if you are seeing a black color, so the black things what it is existing inside us, and means the Prithvi forms what it is existing inside us as having a specific type of conveyingness. So like that, if you have a blue color, then there will be a watery substance will be having a color change. Like that, if we have an Agni, a red color, that is having like that, a stimulation to our mind and all these things. So in this way, if you are looking, we have a connection with the surroundings things. But unfortunately, in most of the times, we can't connect with the nature because the nature is in such a way that we are away from the nature, and now we are having the sitting in the flats or in some houses like that. So our culture has created a miniature of creating this in your house through some specific type of plants. So if you like that, if you are seeing, when entering into the house of India, we have a tulasi is there in front of us. That incarnation itself is showing that there will be such a type of Prakriti's miniature is there inside, so that you can do the puja and all these things. So if you look into the scientific of that, one is we can use a home remedy very easily. The first thing what will happen in a home is something happen to your prana, respiratory problems or a throat irritation or a nasal discharge, something like that. If you take 2 or 3 tulasi leaves and the water and you drink it, little bit of soothing action, that itself will be taking place. So the prana can be controlled in certain extent by this tulasi. So another thing is, if a tulasi is like that, the scientists are now telling that some of the unwanted radiations that coming to our areas through the other things, that can be prevented by this. Another is some insects, mosquitoes, like the unwanted insects will be coming, then that can be keep away. Some microorganisms can be keep away. That's why in Sanskrit one synonym is there, apeda rakshasi, it can keep away the microorganisms. Like that, by seeing that or sitting and giving something to that plant, we can get so many things. If we go something more, then we can see that a small type of graha vrikshas are there. Some ritually plants will be there. If you have a place, then we will go for that like that. So if it is in a village or a city, we have to build another type of ecosystem. There we have a culture of creating a sacred groves. So these sacred groves is a miniature of forest that can do a very better way of understanding of the things that will be useful for that particular town or villages like that. Then we have Punya Aranyeshu. We have some forests that where we will build some pilgrim centers. So they are the big centers that can use for different types of mental exertions, calming of the mental exertions, and sustainability of the surrounding. One thing is the water, land sustainability, air sustainability, and accommodating all the living creatures that are essential for that particular area. Like that, we have different forms of Prakritis, from starting from the house, one or two, three plants, to the large ecosystems, then a very big ecosystem like that. So if you like that, if you see, all the pilgrim centers that built in the olden days are situating on the top of the hills, or the origin of the river, or on the banks of the river, like that, because these places are ecologically very important, so that it has to be preserved in that way. Then we can give this, transfer this to the next generations to come. Same time, it will accommodate all the life activities that are pervading surrounding us. Like that, Prakriti is very important factor to protect like that.
Sir. It's a wonderful example, sir. Sir, most of us who present here, we are living in the cities. Okay, we are not in forest, and we don't have that access to that forest kind of ecosystem or environment. So, how a common man can create a small forest or plants in their own house, in their balconies or in their windows, so which is good, sustainable, good for health, also could be medicinal.
So some of the plants are like that. We can call it as a home remedial plants. One is, we talk about the tulasi, we talk about that. Another is Sandala asiatica, Manduga Parni. We will call it as Brahmi. So Brahmi is one of the very important plant that will helps to stabilize our mind. If you look the Brahmi, it's a Sandala asiatica, that leaves shape itself is similar to that of a brain. And it is having some alkaloids. Now it is proved that it is very good for pacifying the mental activity if it is in an excess form. And other than that, if you have a small area itself, little bit of a 10 centimeter or 12-inch area where there will be a sunlight is able to follow, you can need only 1 or 2 inches of sand to grow this, because it is a runner. So if you just keep it like that, it will grow like very beautifully, and it is very attractive also. So whenever we can need 3 or 4 leaves, we can cut it off. And if it is for children, 3 leaves with 30 ml of milk, if you crush it and give it, it will be a very good for this memory boosting. Not only that, it is a very good for our oral cavity to the anal region. So a recent study by the WHO is showing that whenever there will be an ulcer or something is happening in our mouth or intestine, that this will be one of the good thing that can heal that wounds. Like that, some small plants are there. Another is an Orosalum indicum. Sorry, Oxalis corniculata, Changeri. So it is a Changeri, a small plant like this only. It is having 3 leaves like this, fan-shaped leaves, and it is a bit sour and sweet in taste. Very nice to eat. So that also a runner, and which is having a very beautiful yellow color flowers. So that also we can plant it in small trays. So in the flats it is possible. Another thing is this tulasi, we can use it. Another important thing is, nowadays we come across with so many respiratory problems, especially this corona, like Coleus aromaticus, a plant is there, Parnayavani, Coleus aromaticus Parnayavani. The leaf itself is very aromatic. So in 1 liter of water, if you put 1 leaf and just boil it and drink it, it's very soothing. And some of the studies shows that it is having a wide range of action in bacteria, especially in the throat area. So whenever there will be a kapha is sticking in our throat or nose, it will do as a mucolytic. It will lose that and it will expel out. So such type of a very important things are there. And some children, they are unable to take this internally. So if you have the famous preparation called as Rasnadi Churna, one preparation is there that used to rub on the head after bath. So take that Rasnadi Churna, mix with this juice, and then little bit boil it and keep it in your murtha. Then it helps to relieve these excretions. The blockages will be go out and the person can breathe easily. Like that, we can use even in the flats also. And nowadays you can know that there are some aquaponic techniques also there. On that way also we can use. And if the little bit of balcony is there, we can change this to small shrubs also. That is having a beautiful flowers and all this, especially our Nerium indicum, Karaveeram. This is one of the plant which can purify the air. So whatever the things excessively coming from that air, that can be absorbed by this plant, and that will be converted into another matter and it will exert. So that's why if you see in the highways, most of the places we are planting this Nerium indium, because it can absorb some heavy metals and convert it into another form. Like that, there are so many scopes are there. Only thing is, we have to know which herbs, which are the ideal thing. Not only the exotic orchids or something like that we are buying for 100 of rupees. These are around us. We can take it and plant it in very beautifully in beautiful vessels by hanging pots also. Wall gardens also possible through this, because these Central Asiatic, I don't know, it's a runner. So if you pot it like this and hanged it, it will do like this. So its hanging is very nicely. Like that, we have plenty of indigenous plants that can be used for these types of purpose. Not only like that, another thing is also there. If these are aromatic plants, so the scientists are telling that these aromatic plants will emit volatile oils. So these small type of volatile oils are called as phytocyanids. So always, if these phytocyanids are expelling, what will happen means some of the microorganisms protein can be teared off, and these phytocyanids can be a source for our also human body also, because that can increase some of the secretions of hormones inside us. So our mental activity can also influenced by this. So tulasi is one such drug which is having so much of volatile oils. So like that, plenty of scopes and vast things we can do through our these types of Indic knowledges.
So I hope you get some idea that an inspiration also, that we can have some plants in our own house which can be medicinal and which can be air purifying also. So sir, from city I want to take you back to the forest or village. You told about sacred groves. Okay, so sacred groves is something where traditionally plants are grown and the plants are protected. Okay, so how can you explain a little bit more that how this Prakriti is preserved in these traditional sacred groves, sir?
So our Ajaryas are looked this nature not only with the human beings, they looked with all the minute creatures, even the small fishes, crabs, and starting from the birds and to the bats and everywhere. So you can see that now bats are one of the species that are carrying so much of viral contents. So if bats not able to settle in particular places, then what will happen? It will come to other places where human inhabitants will be there. So when you are destructing and constructing a town, they have an inner vision that all the lives has to be settled in particular places. So they created a particular environment that is suited to that particular geography. So like that, if you are seeing in Tamil Nadu, certain places are very dry in nature, or in Deccan Plateau also. Some of the places are very dry, but in Kerala like area, it's very wet. So according to the areas, geographical and floral condition, they created the sacred groves, only using the local plants that it is growing. So they will create such type of things in particular area, so that their ecology of that area has to be preserved in all the levels, so that some of the amphibians, snakes or something can live on that particular area, so that the rats of that particular area is balanced with that, and some lizards can come, other birds can settle it, or some of the animals can live like that. By that, we can reduce the temperature of that particular area also. We can conserve the groundwater water fertilization of that particular area, so that we can conserve the groundwater fertility of that particular area. So there will be a multi-dimensional activities there. So now we are talking about the global warming and greenhouse building like that. So previously itself, they have a illusion that these are very essential things. So these are the micro greenhouse actually created by this. So, and some of the sacred groves nowadays, if you do a survey, we can see that endemic plants nowhere in the world we can able to see that plants now existing in these areas. And another thing is the genetic diversity. So the genetic diversity of these ecological ecosystems are preserved very well, so that the plant's genetics will not change on the inside. So now we want to take a gene of a Mystica plant, Jadipala. So Mystica plants, oldest varieties are now preserved in these types of sacred groves, especially in Kerala and Karnataka. Mystica, different species are there, wild species. Now what we are seeing is the cultivated variety, but these wild species are there. So in the future, if you want to do a research for a good variety of things, you can take it from this. So that's the richness of these diversities of that. And moreover, another thing is the mental satisfactions. So always we are come across with so many stress and strains. We want to relieve from such a things. So evening, you simply going through a walk through this type of a terrain, automatically we will be reaching to another world, so that our tensions will be relieved in certain extents, or we can sit sometimes on that. So such type of a mental psychotic activity is also very important in such things.
I just want to add to sir's thing. There's one very nice place I visited in Kerala. It is called as Chandanakav. Sir knows that. So it's not like that sandalwood is there. Okay, it is a temple. It's a Devi's temple, and around that this sacred grove is there. And evening you will find thousands of bats only in that area, not anywhere else. Only in that area, thousands of bats will be there. They are harmless. They will not create any issues. The moment you enter that area, you feel the temperature goes down not less than at least 10 to 15 degrees. It's so cold. So cold means so cold. So that is why I think the name has been given Chandanaka. So just adding that what sir is telling, that how the sacred groves are sustained our beliefs, and it is all around our beliefs only. So all these sacred groves are always with some deity. Sometimes Devi, sometimes local Devata, sometimes demigods, sometimes Nagaraja, snake pujas are there. So sir, I want to understand one thing, that these sacred groves have sustained due to our certain practices and beliefs of the community of that area. So is there anything as Jivancharya in our day-to-day life? Because again, we are living in a city. So can we do to contribute anything to this such kind of sustainability?
Yes, yes, we have certain models also. So some places it is not able to create all these in big levels. So there we can see that there will be a fig plant is there, Ashwatha or Udumbara like plant. So if you enter into a village, on the entrance itself you have seen a Ashwatha. Why is that is? So there will be a difficulty is that creating means some creatures will come. But if one tree is there, it can create a mini ecosystem. That's why like that they have the concept was there. Now also we are planning a town planning or a big city planning. What we have to do, we have a green place has to be there. But unfortunately what we are doing nowadays, in the name of green creations, we will brought some grasses from the Australia or America and we will make it as a grassland. It is not the way of green creation. Green creation has to be used our indigenous plants that will be very suitable and beautiful to that particular ecosystem. So like that all the campuses and all the places where a flat is building, we have to tell that this much area has to be adopted for the playing of that things and other things. Then it will be very beautiful. So one example we can take. If you see that in most of the houses in the villages, they have a jackfruit tree or a mango tree. So if a jackfruit tree or mango tree in there and the mango will be ripening usually in the summer season, so all the children will come and they will go and playing around this and they will eat it. So that type of eating and getting the relations of the between the children in the childhood is very essential for the future to come, so that they will be mingle with the society and their mind should be in a very good form in the society. So such thing nowadays is missing. If they are only playing with the mobile or doing some playing in the a small room with some other things, then we are restricting their physical activity, mental activity and their wisdom's activity. So once they will expose to the wisdoms, then they can able to know that, oh, these are the things possible in the nature, that will helps in their future. So if that exposure and companionship and all these things will lose, they will come across with so much tension. That's why nowadays we can see that some of the suicides or some of them are having so many mental problems and not able to share these things to the other peoples because we are not connected to the nature. So the connection of the nature has to be starting from these types of small things. Example, these ficus like that. Evening, if you see all the villagers, peoples will come and sit on that, and under that they have a discussion. And some of them will passing to that area also. They will sit and hear that. So for the goodness and something is bad, we can share to someone in such type of a ecosystem, but it is not possible in a most of the time in a hotel or in a place with an AC, all these things. That's the importance of our culture that is showing.
Sir, as you said that it was the practices in the villages that where people used to come together, sit under the big trees and have a discussions and something. So there was lot of local beliefs which was involved. Ki this tree should be there, this should not be there. So people also, we have seen that people used to worship, like what a Savitri Vratam is there. So where the ladies will go around and tie a sutra in around the tree. So can you, sir, tell me some other examples where this Loka Parampara is actually preserving the plants?
So when you see the Vruksha Ayurveda, there will be one reference is there. Someone is planting a tulasi will reach to a Vishnu Loka Prapti. So why it is told that Vishnu is the god of sustainability and the life. So if you plant a tulasi and you can use this for our goodness also. If your life in certain danger, we can use that one. Another is the villu. William is Shivaloka Prapti. So Shiva is the god of Vayu. So if we have some derangements in the abdomen or in the respiratory systems, we will use the different parts of that. So if we have a respiratory problem, we will use the roots. If you have another throat related problem, we will use the leaves. If you have any other problems related to the lower part of the abdomen and diarrhea will start, then we will use the unripened fruits. All will be becoming a medicine on that. So such type of incarnations will shows that the medicinal importance is also very important. So on that basis, we have so many models in different levels. Some of them are culturally, environmentally that can influence us. Some of them are creating food to us. Some of them are creating medicine to us. Some of them are giving all together to us, just like a kalpa vruksha. So a coconut, if we plant a coconut, it can give all the things, environmental conservations and food conservations, and the same time it can be useful as a medicines. Like that, if you see, there will be a gross mentioning of these things in every part of India, not only in the special areas. So, if you see that in Kerala, we don't have Maduga indica, Mahua, but in the dry places we can see the Mahua. So, that area, the peoples consider this is the incarnation of Parvati, Lord Parvati. And they will build a small, this will be there, and some stones will be kept, and then they will do the pujas. So once I went to near to Coimbatore. So one area there will be near to our Mangare. There we have one area is there. The local tribe peoples are consider this as the Devi incarnation. Every morning and evening they will do the puja of this. And when we are searching on that bark, they are made incisions, 2-inch incisions, and take out the bark. So then we asked the local people, why you are taking this? Then they told that if their children are getting abasmaram, epilepsy, then they will take the bark, rub with the breast milk of the mother, and it will give to him. Then the epilepsy will go on. It's a remote area. No school, no hospitals or nothing will be there. They are managing with like that. Then he told that the flowers, when they are flowering, it's flowering in the summer season. So on that flowering time, the gods and all the cows will come there and eat it. It's very sweet. And when the flowering time there, they will take it and dry it and keep it in the bottle. And they will use as a substitute for sugar. And a phrase he told, Chakkara illa urukku ilippa poodan sharkare. If sharkara is not there in that place, then this flower is the sugar for that particular area. Then he told that when the seed is there, they will collect the seed and then they will take the oil, that is called the Ilippa oil, Maduga oil. So that Maduga oil is used for lightening lamp, and that will be very good for eyes. Even in Ayurveda it is told like that, and it will be externally applied for various types of Adarogas. So a single plant, if you keep it like that as in the form of a goddess, then it can promote so many goodness things. And one more thing is, if this flower, if this plant is not there and the flower is not falling, some of the deers and the animals will not get the nutrients that is essential for the summer season. So because the summer season, they need some nutrients to quench their thirst and other things. Not at all, water is not available in everywhere. So they will come and eat this flower. So that nutrients is essential. That also will lose it. So these types of so many, neem. Neem is also considered to be an incarnation, and if someone is planting a neem, he will reach to the Surya Loka Prapti. That means whatever the disease due to heat it's occurring inside our body and it will producing some skin diseases or something like that, if you consume the parts of the neem, then can be helped out. So like that, plenty of examples we can see in our culture and in the books also.
Sir, just a quick thought. You told about summer and thirst. I remember, sir, you have shown once to me, there's a plant which can quench your thirst. So, if you take a small piece, keep in your mouth, you will not be thirsty for hours. Okay. And sir told that it changes its taste on sound. Sir, can you explain that, sir, please?
That is a plant called as Caralluma species. In India, we have so many endemic Caralluma species. So actually, if you see, these plants are growing between the rocks. If two rocks will be there, between the rocks, little bit soil will be there. On that soil, it is growing. And usually, it will grow around the other plants which is having thorns. So, you need a micro ecosystem. On that, it will grow. Why it is growing like that means, if it is exposed from these areas, then the gods or the cows will come and eat it. And if you see such a plant also, all the plants will be eating only on the tip. They are not able to eat the whole plant like that. Because once they start to eat it, on that time, the plant will turn into tiktarasa, bitterness. So we also go and with the sound and pluck it, it will be too bitter. But without making sound, if you take it, then it will be sweet in taste. So the local people, what they will do means, they will go and pluck it like that, without sound. From one plant, they will pluck only one. That's also we have to know. Only one stem they will take it. And then they will wrap it and they go to the forest. Whenever they want the hungry or thirst, they will eat it. And little bit of water, if you drink it, it shows that after you all eaten the amalaki, gooseberry, how gooseberry is tasting, like that this plant also will taste. So like that, these types of plants are having so many sensitiveness also, that we have to know about that. And nowadays, what is happened, that also we have to know about that. This is a plant that is an food of the local peoples of the village. And this knowledge is came from the village peoples of India. But if you see in the net nowadays, this is exploited by the multinational companies and they are selling 500 milligram this Karaluma capsule for 60 to 90 rupees. So from where they got the knowledge? From them. Because the utility of this means it will reduce the fat. So especially the belly fats. If you continuously take for 21 days, the fat will be reduced and the appetite will be also becoming very slow. So these types of things are exploiting. That also we have to know. So as an Indian, we should know that from where this thing is coming and how they are globalization, that going to another level and they are taking the money. So we should tell the villagers that these types of things has to be done and they know about their importance of these types of cultures also. So very important thing that this one, because these types of plants are not at all seeing in everywhere, only in the villages in the remote area, especially this is a plant of dry land. And one more thing I like to share in this is a wonderful plant. We have to use it for some persons, those who are working in the high altitude or those or soldiers like that. Some researches was done. We can create some other things also. Another thing I heard is this plant can able to soft the stones. So you can see that our temples are having marvelous cultural scripts. They are simply not by using these types of techniques also used. So some combination is there. We have to find out that. We are also working on that. Along with this plant, some other ingredients also applied to the stones. Then we can make the stones soft, so that we can cut it also like that. So this is a plant using for renal stone also. So such type of immense knowledge, we can't get it in any books, but it is there in the peoples, those who are living within the forests like that.
I just want to add one more thing. Once I had one experience of one plant in Malay. I don't know its botanical name, I don't know Hindi name, I don't know English name. In Malayalam they say Ram Nam Pacha. So it is something like there's a tree, there's a small plant, small shrub is there, and leaves are like this. When you start chanting name Rama 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 Rama, the leaves will become like this. Okay, you chant any other name, you tell any other word, nothing will happen. Only with that Rama 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 you say, it will come like this. So I made a video of that also. So I said Rama Rama Rama, it became like this. Then I told my name, Paritosh, nothing happened. I said any other words, nothing happened. But only with Rama, you have to tell for some time, like 30 seconds to 45 seconds, constantly you have to tell, and then it will come like this. So it's like with sound, that movement is there, that with particular frequency. So this type of exotic and brilliant plants we are having in our tradition.
Can I add one?
Yes, sir, please, sir.
So in this instant, that was a very interesting thing. Why this? So in Mahabharata and in Vedas and in our Charaka Samhita also, description is there. Plants also having 5 sense organs. So it can able to know about the touch, smell and the movements. So the Shabda, the example is given as Aditya Parni. This is Aditya Parni. So Aditya Parni can do like this. Why it is called as Aditya Parni means, in spite of very good sunlight is also there, then also this will move. So in another system of medicine, the famous system is the Siddha system, one of the oldest system in India. That system, these types of plants are called as Kanda Moolige, because they have specific type of gravitational Kanda properties there. There are plenty of such plants are there. If our shadow is fall down, that plant will shrink off. One such plant is there where there will be, if you make a sound and go like that, it will go under the ground. So like that, plenty of plants are there. They can exchange a peculiar type of energy. So some of the saints, they will practice this with their hands and other things so that we can get a specific type of energies. One is our touch me not plant, Mimosa pudica. That also having such type, because when we are touching, it will folding, So such type of things, without making these to do all these things, we will make them to prayer like so. So such type of something that till now also the scientist can't explain. This movement is still studying by the scientists. Botanists are studying why this Indian telegraph plant is moving like that.
So this is so wonderful to know about various kinds of plants and their actions, and we are having rich heritage of medicinal plants. Sir, can you what is your thought on that? These medicinal plants, if villagers or if farmers, if they take it up as a medicinal plant cultivation, whether it is going to make villages self-reliant?
Surely, it will help a lot for the villagers and for the future also. Because why it is needed means, a small Ayurvedic company which is having a 1 crore annual outcome of that selling, they need 35,000 tons of materials for preparing certain medicines. It's a rough idea. So like that, how many companies are there in India? So many companies are there. So they are exploiting these types of 35,000 tons of these medicines. A simple example, like that, tons of raw materials are collecting from the nature. So like this, if we are going, it will destruct our things. And we are speaking about the globalization of Ayurveda and all these things in a big manner. But the raw materials, if it is coming is loose, then it will be problematic. That's why we are investing so much, and the medicinal plant board and everywhere they are giving the amount also. But what the thing is happening means, we are creating some another artificial environment for growing these greenhouse building or some houses of poly houses like that building, and spending so much of amount on that. And then we tell that the farmer has having subsidies and other things, and we will buy it. Of course, it is a good thing, but the actual thing we needed is where the plant is growing. We have a specific type of habitats. For example, in Himalaya, if you see, we have Aconitum ferox or Aconitum heterophyllum. This has to be grown in the Gujarat, that Himalayan area. So there is no need of that much of strain. Just seed has to be propagated on that. Then the plant will get all the medicaments that will leave exposure. So once the plant is getting all these things means, it has to expose to the surrounding environment. If some butterflies is not coming to that plant to exploit that plant, the plant will not produce that chemicals sometimes. So a butterfly is called as lime butterfly. That lime butterfly lays their egg only on cinnamon plants, tok. So these cinnamon plants has having a very good smell. Why they are having a smell means, because if it lay down the eggs and all the larvae will eat all these things, then the plant will die. So the plant will produce some good qualities that is having these secondary metabolites. That is the medicine for us. So if this lime butterfly is going away from the nature, then the plant will start to shut down this. So like that, if you are growing something inside without these contractions of these animals and all these things, it will start to deteriorate all these things. So the natural farming, the farm should be, the cultivation should be in the natural habitats. So India is such a country where we have more than 40 agroclimatic conditions. So according to the 14 agroclimatic conditions, we can select the medicinal plants which is suitable to that. So example, Ela. Ela is a Eleutheria cardamom. It should be grown in Kerala like countries or in Tamil Nadu, Nilagiri like countries, because that is the area Ela will get all the chemical constituents that will be essential for that. That's why our Ajaryas are put the synonym as Dravidi. But Ajaryas are given Pippali as Kalinka, because it has to be grown in Orissa. Then only it will be having that much of good qualities. Like that they are notified this. And another is the Arushaga. Then there something has to be Himavan. So the Haridaki, Terminilla Chebula, that has to be occur in the Himalayan areas, has to be used for this purpose. Like that, ecology and the natural plants where it is growing, that also very important when we are planning about these types of mass cultivations and other things.
So we are talking about sustainability, and we have to understand that even Ayurveda medicines has to come from plants, and plants has to sustain. We cannot just keep on going and exploiting forest for that. So for this medicinal plant cultivation should be a very strong suggestion which we should take forward. Sir, one last question I have from you is we have talked about many things, sacred groves, plants, medicinal plant conservation, various kinds of plants and everything. Actually, this is a part of Loka Parampara. So whatever is the beliefs of the people and the community, and is sustained for thousands of years. Not it's not like few hundred or few decades. It's thousands of years it is there, and it has been continued from one generation to another generation just by a oral tradition, not even written. So, sir, what is your thoughts on local health traditions? Because these villagers, they know how to heal using these plants. Though we have various kinds of researches on medicine, new many things are happening. But these local Vaidyas who are not trained in the colleges, they are able to treat hundreds of diseases locally just by using this traditional knowledge. So, sir, your final thoughts on local health tradition?
India is a country like that. Most of our populations and peoples are living in the distant of that cities. So they have to sustain there. So till now they are sustained in that areas with these types of traditions. So simple traditions. For example, one thing we can say is every pregnant woman has a habit of taking bella. Bella is a plant, a small plant, and it's called a Sida cordifolia like that. That plant, Shirapaga, they will put it in the milk and they will take it. So 9 months, if that lady is taking that, it will help to do a normal delivery with a good condition of baby. And the same time, what are the problems that can be created during the delivery and after delivery, like that joint pains, back pains, all these things can also be sustained. So this is a way of preventing so many health hazards by taking this. So this type of a culture is there. Another culture is using of the leafy vegetables. So simply using leafy vegetables, there are a wide range of leafy vegetables their local peoples will take. So they will reduce the impact of exploitation of one single leaf. So one palak or some one leaf or one other amaranthus or not like that. They will use different leaves in different seasons. So such type of things means that will helps to provide ideal nutrition and helps to provide certain disease to keep away also. So such cultures we have to know about that, and then we have to tell that the peoples this has to be done. What happening nowadays means every day these are losing, because the whatever if you see the TV or whatever if it is seeing in a cinema or something like that, everybody is conveying that this is the food that has to be taken. The globalization of food is a very dangerous situation. So we have to tell that traditional foods that is existing in each and every part has to be preserved in that way. Otherwise, it will be a harm. Because how this traditional food has came, looking into the climatic conditions and seasons of that particular area, this is the ideal food that has come into existence. So in Gujarat, like we are using so much of sweets. Why this sweet? That sweet is essential for the peoples that are sustaining here. Like that, we have to plan something that can preserve all these knowledges in different levels. Then it will be very useful for the future generations to come. More than 8,000 plants in India is used for medicinal purposes by the local peoples that are existing in that times. But in our system of medicine, there will be only 600 to 900 like that. So such a vast knowledge is there. So it's a very need time that we have to gather all these knowledges and to at least to document it, so that the next generations can know about that these knowledges will be there and that can be used for another purposes. So on that aspects, sustainability and continuing these traditions, we have to do some work. Now we have to do some work because it is a very much important transition period that has to be worked in that level. Then only it will preserve. Otherwise, we also will lose these knowledges. Just like what we are discussed, a plant which is changing within a short time their taste. So such type of innumerable things are there that has to be preserved in a good level.
I just want to add a final comment is in that um, whatever plants we are discussing, whatever things we are discussing, it is very, very important that we have to understand this local health traditions in its own language. We can analyze scientifically little later, but that the information has to be documented in the same language and the same way it is practiced. Then only we can sustain it. If we start analyzing now, maybe it will take another thousands of years to get analyzed, and meanwhile we will lose lot of things which is our there in our local health traditions. So I think we can close for today's discussion here. Thank you very much, sir,
you,
for
sir.
joining us.
Thank you.